So before I get into the content of this video, I want to do a brief shout out to Mark that's been going through a lot of copyright issues for the past few days, and most of you by now probably have already heard the news. I made a post on the YouTube community tab, I talked about it on social media, and there's been a vast amount of YouTubers that have actually talked about it. For instance, PewDiePie, Philip DeFranco, Critical's talked about it, and other YouTubers that have continuously talked about it in the anime community, outside of the anime community, but there always is an off chance that some of you might not have heard about it. So if you have not heard about what happened to Mark, which is a huge YouTuber in the anime community that's made Dragon Ball videos, One Piece videos, the list goes on. He's made a lot of good content. I have watched even myself, and you basically, if you don't know anything about it, I'll link his video down below. It's in the description. Check it out. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's talk about something that has been on my mind and how 2021 has really changed my perspective on some manga. And the manga that I want to kind of take a few moments to talk about today is Black Clover and Eden's Zero. The thing about these two individual series is that I have quite the history with them. If you have watched my content for years, then you most likely know how I feel about, let's say, Fairy Tail, and you know how I feel about Black Clover, how I used to feel about Black Clover years ago. And it's crazy to me just how much my perspective and opinion has shifted on these series in the past year or so, and I just really want to just take a few moments to talk about that. And just to let anyone out there that is still on the fence for, let's say, Black Clover and Eden Zero, to actually just sit down and give it a shot. Obviously, these two series are still not going to be for everyone, but I want to talk about this and tackle this from a point of view of someone that used to just completely not even want to touch these two individual series. So, let's start with Black Clover. I made a video a while back basically saying I caught up with Black Clover, and that, you know, I have really given Black Clover a solid chance. We back up, let's say a few years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, even 4 years ago, you'll see me criticizing Black Clover. I would jump on the bandwagon, basically, of saying I don't like Black Clover, and for good reason, honestly, for my opinions on it. I will still hold my opinions on how I didn't like the beginning of Black Clover. My opinion on that has not changed, even though I hold Black Clover in such a higher regard now. However, the point is that Black Clover is such a good series. Like, it is definitely not, let's say, the best I've ever read, but it definitely is something that I didn't understand at first when I read it, and which is what I talked about in the video I made a few months ago, that Black Clover is more for the new generation of fans of manga. For instance, how we in the past, we sat down, we watched Dragon Ball Z, we, read Naruto, we started Bleach, these different type of manga series that we really grew up on, that's this generation. For instance, Black Clover is this generation's Naruto, or, Bleach, One Piece, etc. People dive into that. And so, if it's your first manga to dive into, there's really nothing wrong with it. It really does fit the mold of what really is, in essence, a shonen manga. So, when I first read that many, many years ago, I obviously did not know that. I think I lacked maturity to really understand what the manga was really being catered towards. And after really sitting down and reading it and sticking through the beginning to get to the latest chapter, I am a big fan of the series. This year for Black Clover has been really good, and I caught up this year, and it's been interesting. It's been a wild ride. Like I said, if you would have told me a year ago I would be reading Black Clover on a weekly basis, week-to-by-week basis with the newest chapter, I wouldn't believe you, because I didn't think I would ever really sit down and give it a solid chance again after my two different attempts of watching the anime and then also reading the manga when it first started. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy I really sat down and gave Black Clover the chance it actually deserved. And if you're one of those individuals that really just want to see the new age of, let's say, what shonen has to offer, like this new age, like the equivalent of the Naruto of our age, then really, you should give Black Clover a chance. And even if you don't want to read it or watch it, I feel like it does deserve some respect. And I do offer this series an apology. I know I apologized in the past for it, but I feel like I really helped probably a lot of toxicity. Like, I give a lot of toxicity to this series, and I feel like the series really has grown on me this year. And since the year is kind of coming to an end, 2021 is literally about to be over in less than a month, I just wanted to reflect on that, of just how I really sat down and gave Black Clover a chance. And I'm happy to be a part of the community. I'm happy to see why so many people have been hyping it up for years, and I understand. It's good. It's a really fun series. And so, let's talk about the other series in question, Eden Zero. This series I also made a video a while back on, talked about how I was starting the anime, and I was kind of blown away. It was a really good watch. Obviously, it had the certain little elements that Fairy Tail had, and FYI, Eden Zero is written by the same writer as Fairy Tail, Hiro Mashima. And if you know my content that I used to make on Fairy Tail, it was in a similar vein. Probably you could say a little bit more toxic than my Black Clover stuff. And once again, I do apologize for how toxic I was in the past, because it's like, when you really think about it, I didn't really understand a lot back then, and kind of how much effort Hiro Mashima really put into his work. And after years of really just seeing these different mangaka come into different magazines and trying to write series, it really dawned on me just how much effort and attention that Hiro Mashima has put into his series. They might not be the best written stories, but he really is successful at what he does. He fits a very distinct niche in manga, and I feel like he is an absolute monster when it comes to pumping out content. I mean, he has had 3 successful series, and most mangaka nowadays don't even get one. They don't even get one successful series. It's hard enough to do that, but this man legitimately has made 3 successful series. And obviously, I know people are going to be quick to say, oh, he's just recycling content and characters of his previous series and all that. And there is an argument for that. At the same time, though, they are still distinct enough that the story is separated. And being pretty much caught up with Eden Zero's manga now, I can't say it as a replica of Fairy Tail. Is there some similarities? Yes. But is it bad? No. Hiro Mashima obviously is an author that learns from his previous works, and he amplifies it, and he loves what he works on. It's very clear he is passionate and loves the stuff he makes, and I appreciate that. You can really see the love and attention and care he does put in the series, even if obviously I still to this very day I have problems with Fairy Tail. I do think that Hiro Mashima is a really good mangaka, and I feel like my understanding of that years ago was lacking, and I feel like being able to sit down and put aside my bias towards Fairy Tail and really just read Eden Zero is a good feeling, actually. And I just want to say, it's been quite the journey, like the manga. Like, I want to make a video on it. I do want to make a video talking about the manga's journey, because it's something. Like, seriously, each individual arc of Eden Zero, I feel like, has improved upon itself. Now, once again, I want to quickly clarify. I don't think, let's say, Eden Zero is the best manga I have read all year. However, I do think that it is a solid series, and I do think that anyone that gives it flack is probably those individuals read Fairy Tail, or, have heard about Fairy Tail, and they really haven't sat down and actually read Eden Zero. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of didn't start Eden Zero for a long time. I've never put the series down, but I never started it because just the way the work of Fairy Tail was done, it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm going to keep it real. But at the same time, it's a new work, and I shouldn't judge a prior work on a new work. And also, like I've already talked about, looking at just the success of Hiro Mashima Sensei is definitely something to be noted. It's definitely something that should be praised. And I can't believe just how much my eyes have opened up this year for some manga I never thought I would read. For instance, like I said, Black Clover and now Eden Zero. It's interesting, and I feel like I've went for a huge learning and maturity process this year. And I know not many people are probably going to care about that, but it's been an interesting year, honestly, to really just look at these 2 different manga that I used to not want to care about. And now I actually like them. I really love these 2 manga, and I want to continue reading them on a week-by-week basis when a chapter comes out. And so, yeah, I made this video basically for a few reasons. One, to basically apologize, because I know I definitely helped with toxicity towards these 2 series. But secondly, to let everybody know, as someone that was biased, like, I guess I'm still am biased. I don't think you could ever really get rid of bias. But as someone that is biased, I will say that the 2 series, yes, they're not perfect, but I feel like they get too much flack. And I think that some people that really give them flack don't understand what they're really catered towards. Like, example, Black Clover, new generation for shonen readers, like Naruto. Eden Zero is just a niche type manga that certain individuals love, and it's successful. And it is very successful. 3 successful series under Hiro Mashima's belt. That is not something you just sweep under the rug and don't factor in. That is impressive. And that is enough to just say, if you are doing something successful and people love it, why stop? That is a good thing to think about. And I feel like Hiro Mashima, he loves writing, he loves drawing, and you know, his fans love it too. And I've actually become quite a fan again of his content. I mean, I never hated the beginning of Fairy Tail. I'll be honest. I've said it many times. I love Fairy Tail up to Tower of Heaven. Like, that was peak. But it did keep my attention, basically, until, like, the island scene and all that. Until then, it was pretty good. And so, I gotta say that Hiro Mashima hasn't done anything wrong, in my personal opinion, with Eden Zero. Obviously, people might disagree with that, but I've loved the content. And the latest stuff in the manga is pretty good. Like, oh my god, it's good. But yeah, I want to save my actual thoughts on that type of stuff for a video, but I wanted to make this video just talk about all that. But okay, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully all of you have a wonderful day, and I want to reiterate what I said at the beginning of this video. If you've yet to check out Mark's stuff, like for instance what's happened to him, link is in the description. Please help him out. Send your love and support to him his way. He definitely deserves it. But I love you guys. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.